All right, here we are, Yosemite. Last full day in Yosemite. I am right at the Tioga Pass entrance station, just behind me in those trees. That's Highway 120 up from Lee Vining, and I am headed up there to the summit. It's the thing out there in the distance, not that little guy on the left. Taking on Mount Dana, currently at 9,942 feet. The trail is 5.1 miles round trip, so just over 2.5 miles. It climbs 2,974 feet to a crest of 12,912 feet. It is the second highest peak in Yosemite. So a challenging but rewarding for the work to view ratio, apparently. So here I go. The fam went back to camp for naps, and as John Muir famously said, the mountains were calling and Dad could not resist the call to go one last time before we leave Yosemite tomorrow. So here we go, the Mount Dana Trail. Beautiful scenery. Little lakes in the Dana Meadow on the Mount Dana Trail. Just a quarter mile in. There's where we're headed. Mount Dana right there. About 3,000 feet up in 2.5 miles. All right. First wildlife in the Dana Meadows. Got a young male buck here. Right off the trail. He's here snacking. Who else is snacking? Spray at the ready. Try to get by here without bothering him too bad. That big boy. Lots of wildflowers eating up. Lots of wildflowers here. Climbed up about 300 feet so far in the first about 3/4 of a mile. Probably pretty close to hitting the rocky face and really kicking up from there. Dana Meadow. See some of the parking area way off in the distance. Tioga Road entrance station. All right, pushing on. Climbing up out of Dana Meadow. Getting gas, climbed up 500 feet since starting from the entrance station. Way over there. Only another 2,400 vertical feet to go. About 0.8 of a mile in. So that incline is coming hot and heavy here in a minute. A little over 1.25 miles into the 2.5 mile ascent of Mount Dana. Yeah, just over 11,000 feet now. You can see the Tioga Pass entrance station right down there where I started. Means I have about another 1,900 vertical feet to go in a little over a mile. Hoo-ah, about to do the Scree Scramble. And exhausting my one goo pack right now. Need the fast burning fuel. Up and up and up we go. Hit my first patches of snow at 11,500 feet. Little over 1,500 vertical feet left to the summit of Mount Dana. And it all comes in less than a mile of travel, about 9/10 of a mile. To the summit, the views are starting to really get good. Hoo-ah. Pushing on this rocky ascent. Thank goodness for the trekking pole. Pull me up there where my feet fail. The good news is I'm about 3/4 of a mile to the summit of Mount Dana. Not about 11,700 feet, which I guess brings me to the bad news. That it'll be another 1,200 plus vertical foot scramble up that there Scree field. About 2 or 3 feet of snow here. And a lot of loose rock. All right, up there we go. See you at the top. Now, admittedly, the beaten path up here is not so obvious. Thankfully, there's somewhat of an understood quote-unquote trail in following these big piles of rocks or cairns that people have stacked up. But how to get from cairn to cairn might be up to you. Figure it out close to the summit. Closing in on the summit of Mount Dana. 200 more vertical feet. Of loose traveling rock. I'm really just using the trekking poles to try to maintain another point or two of contact if I can. Although sometimes too slippery even for that. Almost there. Yeah. A little bit to go. Almost there. 12,880. 100 feet vertical to go. All right. arrived at the top of Mount Dana, second highest point in Yosemite National Park, on the crest of the Sierra Nevada range. I got some butterflies up here. Little windbreak there. There's Mono Lake. Way down there at 7,000 feet. I'm now at, my GPS says 13,070. Can't figure out where to stop. A little over 2 hours, a little over 2.5 miles. For the view. There's Mammoth Mountain Ski Resort in the background, I believe. Right down in there. See the ski runs down Highway 395. Might be Cathedral Peak out there in the distance. It's the double summit where John Muir said after his, and maybe the first recorded ascent in the late 1800s, I think he said something along the lines of, "It was the first time I had been to church in California." I get it, John. Hard to not feel close to the crater up here. Pretty spectacular. Beautiful wildflowers, sky pilot, I believe they're called, little blue guys. Now all that's left to do is get back down to that there entrance station, some 3,000 feet down. I think I'll soak this up for another few minutes. Well, that's a wrap on Mount Dana. Had a great stop. Enjoyed the views. Had a last Cliff Bar, some water. Called my wife. Yes, 4G service up here. Basically a direct line of sight to the campground almost in Lee Vining. Send some snaps, hashtag dad life. Now it's time to, more carefully than I am right this second, scramble on down back to the Tioga Pass entrance station, where the fam is graciously going to drive back up here in an hour and change and pick me up so I don't have to hitchhike down after they get some naps. See you on the way down. All right, headed down from Mount Dana, Yosemite National Park. Up there, interesting Scree Scramble. On the way back down, moving as comfortably as possible to assure safety and expedience, as the fam is going to be arriving at the entrance station at Tioga Pass probably in about 45 minutes. Which is about right when I should be getting there, enjoying the downhill as I do. Also, about to enjoy go-go squeeze. Basically anything your kids eat turns out to be actually decent trail food. Any little handhelds, granola bars. This is a fruit and veggie consistency of applesauce. 60 calories, 11 grams of sugar. Basically a bunch of organic juice purees. Quick energy on the trail, that's what you want. Especially if you're moving quickly. Your body does not want to process a bunch of calorically dense food. So this will be my last snack. Goo gel on the way up, Cliff Bar at the top. Go-Go Squeeze Organic Boulder Berry. It says organic, so you know it's good for that hashtag dad bod. All right, back to the meadow shortly. About 800 feet above the Dana Meadow floor. I've come back into the grass and the trees. So I've rearmed myself with the UDAP bear spray, because down there the wild things are. And I would prefer not to engage in hand-to-hand combat at this current juncture in my life. Particularly not with a black bear. But I'll be exercising all of the proper protocols. Talking, singing in a low, loud voice as I move down the trail to alert the bear that I'm coming, so that he or she is not startled upon my arrival, and therefore feels like taking up the defensive posture. Maybe even will temporarily yield way for such a human to pass on the trail. At which time I will tip my hat and oblige the mighty beast whose land this really is. I'm just the humble passerby enjoying the scenery temporarily, but really hoping and praying to avoid conflict with the wild things. So here we go. Still a little bit of a rocky slope to the meadow floor, especially in these areas where I know animals are. My head is constantly on a swivel, constantly pulling 360-degree security for myself, looking down the trail as best I can, trying to be predictive, alerting anything, keeping an eye out for any telltale signs, animal activity, fresh scat, etc., etc. Dead humans along the trail. So if you get out there, know the risks, mitigate the risks, plan for the risks, over plan for the risks, have an exit strategy or 7, or it's on you. Here we go, last half mile down to the meadow. Meadows and meadows of them. One deer up, one deer on the way down. Hopefully that's all I get. Be satisfied from my wildlife experience. Beautiful wildflowers down here in the meadow. Different types than the ones at the top of the mountain, but not any less mesmerizing. Probably tasty treats for lots of animals and bugs. Ah, the meadow. That's where I'd be hanging if I was a wild animal. Abundant water source. With the food that comes with it. Lakes on both sides. Well beaten path in the middle. So you know where the humans are gonna be. Alright, last push. Family's waiting. Alright. Back to the trailhead. Civilization. The sound of cars buzzing by. The trailhead, by the way, is quite literally leaves from the Tioga Pass entrance station on the east side of Yosemite, on Highway 20. Here's where I am. There aren't any signs for the trail. There's not a single sign that says Dana on it anywhere. But it's obviously a well-beaten, well-known trail. So there we are, 3 hours, 45 minutes, 2 hours, 10 minutes up, 1 hour, 35 down, 5.4 miles round trip. And there's the fam. The exfil is waiting patiently. Back on Highway 120, Tioga Road. What's up, crew?
This is a race car.
Cool.
Yeah.
Dad's back. He's been to the top of the mountain. Thanks for tuning in to another Bomber's Family Adventure. See you next time.